This NFL Picks Week 11 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, this is Pac-Man Jones. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
The Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Wow, week 11.
Oh, here we go.
What a long, strange journey
it's been. Crazy. It took this long. Normally by week 4, you're like, can you believe it's week 4? Ryan, you've shown tremendous restraint.
What do you mean?
Well, normally you start the wow, it's week whatever conversation much earlier. I'm surprised you've waited this long. I mean, I feel like you've been dabbling, slowly introducing it, but
you know what it is? Just locked in, laser focused, extremely laser focused. Right
yes, Kramer on a heater, of course, hitting both locks and his dog and his tees.
And ask me what I did last night between the hours of 2 and 3 a.m.
What did you do?
I couldn't sleep.
Between 2 and 3 a.m. Right.
Well, here's what I did. I realized that I was being not objective, not fair, and so I rewatched the highlight cut-ups of every Colorado Buffalo game to hopefully revise my thoughts on.
I mean, they have been 7-0 ATS. Now, does that revision have anything to do with the fact
he's
that
gotten a lot better as the season has gone on?
Is it related to the fact of how bad the Giants have been? Or is that completely too
I think there's correlations
unrelated
here.
data
No,
points?
I think there's a correlation here. I also think there's an interesting thing that's happened when Joe Shane did not vote, and there was no vote of confidence from Joe Shane to Brian Daboll. I realized, oh my God! Not only do I have to go back and watch the tape to get acclimated to Shadur Sanders' playing style, but also I have to get ready for Coach Prime's coaching style.
No way would they hire
It's
Coach
greater
Prime.
than 0% right now.
I guess it's greater than 0.
Now we all know who the obvious choice is, Bill Belichick. But I think there's a non-zero chance that Travis Hunter, Shadur Sanders, and Prime are on the Giants.
I've been saying for a while now that Brian Daboll's not a good head coach. But Ryan, if you had to choose right now, who would you want to replace Brian Daboll? College, pro, guys not playing, whatever.
Ben Johnson.
Okay. So you want even though you don't, I guess so Ben Johnson with the idea that you're probably assuming
he checks a couple boxes for me. One.
Well, and he can build an offense to maximize Ashton Jeanty. And I think that's what you guys are going to want to do.
Run first offense. Step 2 comes from an organization that has taken a bad situation and made it good. And 3 is now part of a organization that is doing things the right way. So there's your answer.
All right. Yeah.
Now the worst possible situation would be Coach Prime.
Really? Yeah. You don't like Coach Prime? I think Coach Prime is good for certain kinds of teams. And I think honestly, he might be better off in the college game versus the pros.
I was gonna say, I don't know if he's gonna ever be a great NFL coach. Cause the idea of him being this CEO, I wonder if it works the same way at the NFL level with NFL
college.
Coordinators.
There's a lot of managing of young people and motivation stuff, which I think he's really talented at. I don't know, like at the NFL level, you can give someone a rah-rah speech, but if you don't have a good handle on scheme, and if you're not putting the guys in position to win games, they might just completely check out. I could see locker rooms, some guys respecting Dion and some not. I don't know. It would be interesting. I think he could work in a lot of situations.
I would say that there is a positive trend of former players becoming good coaches of late. I mean, Dan Campbell. I just talked about the Lions and Dan Campbell. You have Houston and D'Amico Ryans.
And Dan Campbell certainly maybe different tone, but similar guy. Dan Campbell's not a scheme guy. He's a former player who gets his guys up for games, brings a culture to the building, which I think if you're making a case for Dion, that's what his strength would be.
The difference to me is that a guy like Dan Campbell learned in the belly of like the Parcells systems and Sean Payton. And like there was a lot of apprenticeship happening and learning happening. It wasn't just right into it. Now, I think a lot of what Dion has learned how to do is less to do about football coaching and more about putting a team together. He's basically been a youth sports coach. So a lot of that is like dealing with the roster construction piece of it.
Well, and there's the dynamic of having your son play quarterback. I don't know how that would play at the NFL level. That's certainly going to be
Bronny's getting special privileges. Getting
man, that is peak NBA. Bronny not wanting to fly commercial, so he's not playing the road games in the G League.
Imagine
that's insane.
Is that actually what the story? Because I saw that on the hot take shows, and I was like, that can't possibly be the story.
Well, he's not playing. He's not playing road games for the G League team.
I saw that, and
they're saying it's because they want him around the team. But they're not going to play him, so he needs to develop. He needs to play.
Shit, that does.
He needs as many G League games as he can. And Paul Pierce was like, "Hey, Bronny, man, it's not. Don't worry about flying commercial. United ain't that bad." Paul Pierce is.
If you didn't see Paul Pierce on whatever show we were watching today, Keyshawn, it had Keyshawn's put on a couple pounds.
Oh my God,
Keyshawn looks like he would play left tackle now, not receiver. Then Michael Irvin, who was just constantly rubbing his nostrils. He's clearly, if you saw him on the sideline of Miami, he's clearly back on the shed powder.
He either has the greatest pre-workout that he takes, energy drinks, or he's back on shed powder, right? And everyone, I saw someone saying, watching this show on shed powder, let it snow again. I'm not your dad, but if you're doing that, do it responsibly.
But Paul Pierce,
don't get in trouble or don't get ill.
If you didn't, don't get ill.
Well, I mean, what are they putting in? I mean, it's literally called shed powder, right? You don't know what you got to get your shed powder tested before you start putting a shed together. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, make sure that shed's American made. You don't want any of that weird, synthetic.
The international shed stuff.
Paul Pierce, if you didn't see him on the show today, which I almost feel like I need to dig up a picture.
Look at you, Ryan, just crowbar and NBA talk.
Well, I was watching for the most part with no audio on. In fact, at one point I had you turn the audio up because I wanted to hear what Paul Pierce looked like He looked like Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. He looked fucked up. He was dressed like he was at the pool. And I just wanted to hear what it sounds like. And then something happened where you disappeared and I go TV7 mute and nothing happens. And I'm like, I had to get my ass up to turn this horrible NBA talk. Anyway, Paul Pierce looking like Weekend at Bernie. Bernie was really funny to me. Anyway, back to the NFL. Lasers are
back
focused.
To the National Football League.
So yeah, Bronny can't fly commercial, huh?
Well, legally, I'm sure he can. But will he? We'll stay tuned. There are. Shout out to Underdog. Underdog actually has some Bronny G League projections. I don't know how you handicap G League basketball.
I don't know why I haven't told this story yet, but as a younger person, there was a period where in the off season for high school soccer, we still played soccer, and in the East Coast and the Northeast, it was indoor. And for whatever reason, the coach's son was always kind of forced into our team, and he was a couple of years younger than us. And at some point, we decided to pick on the little fucker because he didn't deserve to be there. And the coach caught him, and just like it was the first time in my life I saw an adult like actually put his hands on the throat of a kid, one of my teammates. And that's what I would imagine happens with Bronny and LeBron, right? He's constantly getting his ass picked on, and LeBron has to come over and smack some motherfuckers around.
I think
how does no one make fun of the situation? It's got to be so fucking awkward, right? Or does it just not matter? No one gives a fucking anyway.
Terrell saying, is this a promo for bullying?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Sometimes, Liz, bullying has its place. The more you know.
You know what? Everyone has everyone who has a strong "we can't have bullying" take. They have that take until they have kids.
Yeah.
And then they realize that you need altercation.
Yeah, let some of these other kids sort out my bullshit kids' behavior.
Because what these soft ass parents have done is they've forced schools to legislate conflict out of the school to the point where they don't have normal fights anymore. It's ridiculous. If kids just punch each other in the face. I mean, once again, Tyson did point this out many moons ago. Everyone's got a plan
till they get punched in the face. Yeah, we're gonna be talking Tyson Paul. I think we'll do like maybe a little segment on the prop show tomorrow. But Ryan, we're here to talk about the National Football League. Let's go.
Was I making you uncomfortable talking about bullying?
No, okay. Just I know the audience doesn't want to hear an hour and a half of NBA takes. I'm speaking for the audience. We're only
10 minutes into the show. Usually it's much longer. All right. Do you want to talk about last week?
Yeah. I mean, last week we both did pretty well. You were 9-5. Again, like I said, double lock, dog, and tease. I was 8-6. Can't get that double lock going. It's elusive. Did hit my money line dog. 4-1 on the Circa Million. We're on a 13-7 run, last 20 in the Circa Million. Nice. 3 games above 500. The quarter started last week. We're 4-1. So
1 out.
Let's try and get hot here. 5-0.
Let's try to pick the good ones. You could also say that I've hit 9 of my last 10 locks. That's an accurate
great
statement.
90% of your locks.
Yeah. I mean, starting in week 6. 90% of my locks. And Sean, you know what lock I got wrong?
What did you get wrong?
Wait, excuse my language, but that fucking Buffalo Miami game where dickhead Coleman dropped the ball running into the end zone against Jalen Ramsey. The Bills game against the Dolphins from week 10. Coleman catches that slant. He's running into the end zone and just drops the ball into Ramsey's hand. Anyway, what happened, Sean?
I don't know what you're talking about. What
my lock? That was the lock that I got wrong from week 10.
You keep saying week 10.
Sorry, week 9.
Okay.
Buffalo laid 6 against Miami. They obviously cover the game if that turnover doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, he didn't drop the ball. Well, he did, but it got intercepted.
That's what I mean. Okay. He dropped it into Ramsey's hands.
Okay. You threw me off by saying week 10.
You know what I meant.
All right. I clearly did not know what you meant.
You should have come too faster. The lasers are very focused over here. Washington, the Redskins football team Commanders, where I saw another news story that opened the door for the Washington football team Commanders to rename back to the Redskins, Sean. So I we are not dead. For those who would like to see the band and the Hogs get back to it, Washington, Sean, is catching 3.5 here, plus 165 on the money line. 48.5 is the total. Good Thursday night game. I feel like we've gotten this is now back to back good Thursday night games. Sean, your Eagles. This is almost a for the division type game. I'm at they win this and it's a 2.5 game lead.
Yeah, I mean certainly this would help obviously in the race for the division, but they do play again. So it does seem like it's Commanders. I'm going to call it, Ryan. I think your Giants after losing to Carolina probably not in the division mix.
We'll
Cowboys.
See. Danny DeVito might be playing next week.
Danny. All right. Probably just as good a quarterback, Danny DeVito. You got to get him out.
Oh, he's obviously too short to play. Football.
What do you mean, Dable, QB whisperer? You got to get him out of that Jersey Mike's tree. Maybe Danny DeVito did play college football or high school football. I think
what position did he play?
I swear to God, we looked this up. I'll Google
tackle. I'm looking it up.
I'm all over the Eagles here, as you would expect, but I got some good reasons. One, Jordan Mailata is back, their left tackle. That was kind of the weakness the past few weeks. Pressure rate a little higher than normal. Jalen Hurts has played very well against the Commanders, 5-1 last 3 years. Devonta Smith has had his career game against the Commanders. This Eagles secondary, shout out to Howie Roseman, just killing the draft with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Have been just great additions to the secondary back there. That's been huge. Zach Bond, they've really hit with their linebackers. Like, Eagles defense, they always punt on linebacker, don't spend a lot of draft capital, don't spend a lot of money in free agency, kind of roll the dice with usually either a rookie or a vet that's cheap. And they kind of hit on both with Zach Bond, and now Nakobe Dean's playing well. Pass rush is coming back to life. And obviously the offensive side of the ball, Saquon Barkley coming off his first victory against the Dallas Cowboys. He's excited. AJ Brown continues to be unguardable. Eagles have played 9 games this season. If AJ Brown plays 6-0, averaging 30.2 per game. And I'll say this too. The Commanders offense kind of struggled against the Steelers defense, and Steelers were only the second above average pass defense by DVOA they faced all season. And not only do I like the Eagles at home, I like the setup, but I would also say this is going to be a really, and Jaden Daniels having a great year. I mean, it's him neck and neck. Bo Nix rookie of the year. We'll see what happens. I think Jaden Daniels, Ryan, took a ton of shots, and that was my only concern for him coming into this year. Was that yes, he's athletic, he's mobile. I mean, his arm is it was way better than I thought coming into the year. Like some of the high level passing, high level throws he's making, he's been playing at an incredibly high level, but he's also taken a bunch of shots and a very physical game against the Steelers. Now you're playing on the road, short week. I think he's a little banged up. He's not officially listed on the injury report, but I saw him take a number of shots from that hungry Steelers defense. So I think this is a tough spot for a rookie quarterback. So I'm all over the Eagles, obviously, but I think there's some good reasons to be.
Jaden Daniels rushing attempts this year: 16, 10, 12, 8, 11, 6, 3, 8, 8, 3. So clearly they've been dialed back.
Well, and some of it, I think it's a combo. Like he has looked good throwing from the pocket, but also every time you run the ball, this guy takes shots. Like he has not figured out how to avoid contact while still being a running quarterback. And Jalen Hurts was really Jalen Hurts was really bad at that early in the season. I mean, like Michael Vick, his career cut short because of all that first year he came back before he was a starter. He was just running with reckless abandon, which is awesome to watch, but it's just not sustainable. So it's probably a 2-part thing of like him looking good in the pocket, and then 2, them realize that, and him. I think also he is a little banged up. I think some of his throws were impacted by some of the shots he took. He got that rib injury a couple weeks ago. He played through it in the Bears game. Got fortunate win there with the Hail Mary, but I think he's gonna hit a wall. Alan Van Grinsven checking in saying Commanders coming off a tough loss, Eagles easy win last week. Yeah, I could see how you could maybe talk yourself into a motivation angle for the Commanders, but also the Eagles were resting their starters the majority of the fourth quarter. So I think if you're talking about like how rested their bodies are going to be, that's a big advantage in my mind for the Eagles.
Certainly on the short week.
Yeah.
There certainly is probably an edge to the Philly coaching staff in terms of just general preparedness on a short week here. Has Jaden Daniels played a Thursday night game yet? No,
nope.
Right? Yeah. So, Sean, fun trivia. How many times have the Commanders and Eagles played in their history?
In their history. I'll say, that's interesting. I'll say 100 times.
100 times only? No.
Maybe 140.
178.
Oh wow.
Games.
Okay.
The Commanders lead the series, although the Commanders have played very few of these games. The Redskins lead the series 89, 84, and 5. So
yeah,
5 ties in there.
Redskins were very good back in the day. But again, this is the best version of this Commanders team. Shout out to friend of the program, Sully, diehard commie, loves his commies. Ryan, I know he's going to be jacked up for this game, and it's it's going to be a good game.
We did get that text. He ordered the jersey right after Daniels went down with the injury.
Yeah. So. Marshawn Lattimore also not playing.
Good for my AJ Brown angles, and I'll reiterate, little Saquon Barkley receiving ladder in this one. That's a good matchup. The only thing I would add to this is the thing that makes me feel fairly confident about this is I wonder what's going to happen when Washington falls behind here. I think if anything, Vic Fangio's defense is such that, they're just going to sit back and let this honestly could look like one of those earlier season games against the Bucs or the Giants where he has a lot of carries, and it's because they're just sitting back and forcing him to take the underneath stuff. Cause now he's proving he'll take that deeper. He'll take some of those deeper shots. So if you just sit back and force this offense to matriculate the ball down the field and just make sure you get the hits in on them. Unfortunately, someone said the Thursday night props episode was a circle jerk. I don't remember circle jerking around the Eagles. I'm definitely the Eagles because why? I mean, I also believe that the crescendo of this Commanders team has put them in a place where they're just overvalued and they're on the way down. I do think they're probably favored to make the playoffs, but I think this is a team that we're going to be talking about as a fringe wild card team.
Yeah, I think
when all said and done. So
them hitting a couple bumps in the road. I mean, they should have lost that Hail Mary game. There's some other games that maybe
they're ahead of schedule because they because the Giants didn't have a kicker. And it's as simple as that, and a Hail Mary. So think about where they should be.
Trevor wants to say shootout potential for this game.
Sure.
Yeah, I got it 31-24 Eagles.
But I do have a feeling that, like, as I've been very critical about the Vic Fangio defense. I do think in this matchup, I Brian Robinson being back is definitely helpful, but I do think we could see a lot of rushing attempts and a lot of short shit. Lay the 3.5, Sean. That's what we were taught many moons ago. Sunday, we got an 8-game early window.
Oh my God.
The Octo Box is live.
The Octo Box will be live. Glorious too. First one, an old time rivalry. Probably one of the few rivalries that has more games than the Eagles versus Commanders. Packers taking on the Bears. Bears, of course, Sean, got their ass kicked last week. Bears are now a close your eyes special because of it. Of course, they underperformed the spread by 21. And now they're catching points at home in this instance. Green Bay, meanwhile, coming off the bye. They say Jordan Love is all the way healthy, which means no more excuses, Jordan. You throw a pick this week, it's on you. And Green Bay, Sean, they are going to be the public side. 84% of the action on the Packers right now. Certainly the obvious look at this game. Okay, Packers have a lot of advantages here, and oh, by the way, I didn't mention the fact that the Bears have fired their offensive coordinator.
Yes,
and
Thomas Brown. The Sharps loved Thomas Brown.
Shane Waldron out. Thomas Brown in.
Did you see the Keenan Allen quote about Shane Waldron?
Basically said he.
I got it right here. I kind of want to read it verbatim.
Read it out.
Keenan Allen goes, he was too nice of a guy. OTAs camp, we fell into a trap of letting things go and not holding people accountable. And that's a slippery slope. Just professionalism, doing things the right way from the beginning.
Okay.
That's, I mean,
who do you think he's,
as
who
a
was
media
not being
person,
professional?
Well, I think Shane Waldron was by not holding guys accountable. I'm sure there were guys, I would assume.
That's the first layer of the onion. But the second layer is he's also taking a shot at players that were obviously not acting professionally.
Probably. Maybe I would guess the vets. Oh my God. I was trying to find, because there's a lot of buzz about supposedly some of the vets on the Bears allegedly went to the head coach saying like, hey, you have to get rid of Shane Waldron. You should be starting Tyson Bagent, which would be great for our special Bagent 007
Oh, yes.
t-shirts that are probably still in the merch store that we're trying to unload.
Let's go.
But obviously that's a horrible sign of the team chemistry and everything going on. But also just the fact that they're like asking it is a weird vibe. Just horrible mojo for this Bears team.
Yeah, I mean it just seems crazy. They do like what? Maybe Caleb Williams is the guy that was not being professional, and that's why the players want a quarterback change. Maybe he's not prepared like he should be. I mean, that's always something we hear, right? Anthony Richardson's being dragged through that mess of like, well, you weren't preparing. Like, what kind of fucking idiot are you? So yeah, anyway, in this, back to the game though. In this case, all the quit, whatever you want to call it. Maybe they get a new coach bump. Maybe the new plays are better. Maybe there was friction between the offensive coordinator and quarterback. DJ Moore seems to be like a third wheel friction situation going on. Bears catching 5.5.
I mean, it's just classic Bears, Ryan. They're just a disaster, a nightmare.
It's crazy that
Packers have won 19 of the last 21 meetings. Packers are 10-0 ATS their last 10. If you're a line value person, the look ahead was Green Bay -2.5 some places. Now it's all the way up to like 5.5, 6 through key numbers.
Yep.
The Bears defense 30th in defensive DVOA. I mean, Matt LaFleur, he's been great off the bye, extended prep. It's the only thing it has going for it is the close your eyes special.
Well, this is the grossest, which is those are the best,
which is like actually the ones you want to lean into.
Close your eyes special on the year, Sean.
Yeah.
It's 5 and 6 ATS.
Okay. Now do it.
Removing the Panthers from that equation, it is 5 and 3.
Okay.
So we've only had 8 instances if you exterminate the Panthers. I mean, look, I'm going to the church of the close your eyes special, but boy, this is going to be a ride. Here's how it happens.
Yeah.
You want to, I've seen this in my dreams. The Bears still have a good pass defense. Okay. Jordan Love still knows how to throw an interception.
No, I mean that's they have to turn Jordan Love over. There's no other way they cover this.
Oh yes. And
I think there's a new OC bump. I really any sort of reason to get up for this game, and it does sound like they could be getting either Darnell Wright and or Braxton Jones, their tackles. Like
that would be helpful.
Like they're and again, shout out to all the people that were angry at me when I said like week 2 eye test. Caleb Williams is holding on to the ball too long. He doesn't have any time to throw. Meanwhile, he's leading the league in whatever that metric is of sacks where you hold on to the ball too long. Yeah. I'm the crazy person. Hashtag I know ball. I think there will be a little bit of mojo, a little hey. The new OC's in here. Guys are playing for their job. You turn over Jordan Love. It's a close your eyes special. It shouldn't be easy, Ryan.
One area where you feel a little hopeful is the Packers have failed to really get after quarterbacks, and so perhaps we could see a situation where maybe.
Well, he's not throwing the ball when he has a clean pocket, which is the biggest.
Well, because he's shook because he knows his line sucks. I think there is something to that. So yeah, to your point, reinforcements will be good. Close your eyes special. Ugh, what a gross situation we have here. Anyway.
All right. So we're both on the Chicago Bears plus 5.5, even though it's gross, but it's a close your eyes special. All right.
Whoa.
Listen to that. I got to turn it down a little bit. Guess who's back? That's right, baby. It's been a long time. It's like they never last. MyBookie.ag. Oh, that's right. We've been, if you're a long time listener to the show, MyBookie's been around for years, 10-year anniversary. Use that promo code SGPN, 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookie, baby. They got us through the Sims. Now they even have a all new website, live betting, live streaming, the new early cash out. Again, deposit, withdrawal, and cryptocurrency. Super easy, super fast. Love them. 100% deposit match up to $1,000 and a $10 casino chip. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Available a lot of places, Ryan. Wherever you listen to this podcast right now, head over to MyBookie.ag. Put in that promo code SGPN. Do us a favor, and more importantly, yourself a favor. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN.
I remember the time I lost 4 figures on the Sims when the Giants lost 44-2.
It was fun chasing
the Rams.
on the Sims.
That was not fun. That was a lot of that was way more money than I should have risked on live NFL Sims. All right, game number 2 in the early window, Sean.
And cousin Mush asking is Little Caesars back as well. No, not. But again, keep asking, keep asking about Little Caesars. Would love to get them back. I don't know what happened to them, but
they just don't appreciate the art of a good read. All right, TV2 or game 2 in the early window. The Cleveland Browns coming off the bye. Jameis Winston. This is when the arc goes positive for us and us Jameis heads. Cleveland is looking ahead, Sean. They do have a Thursday night bout with I believe the Steelers. New Orleans, they're looking to their bye.
Okay,
they're at home here. -1, -116 on the money line. Cleveland -102. 44.5 is the total. And I would point this out. We already made this pick last week. I think we said out loud that we're going to take Italian American and amazing special teams coach, made interim head coach Darren Rizzi and the New Orleans Saints. And man, did he bring that intensity.
Oh, yes.
But now
it's time to fade them. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, let's just start there. It's always the game after the game, whether it's the star replacement theory, the new coach bump, much like shed powder bumps. It's great for a little bit, and then there's the crash. There's the letdown right after it, Ryan. And I kind of see this happening for this Saints team. The matchups I think are great for this Browns team. Now, no offense against great Italian American, Mr. Rizzi there.
No offense taken.
But I think Stefanski with 2 weeks to prepare against this Saints defense that again traded away Lattimore. There was a ton of opportunities for that Falcons team. I mean, the Falcons, even with the new coach bump, the Falcons outgained them by 103 yards. Ryan, some would say we were fortunate that Koo missed 3 field goals.
What are you in the box score?
No, I test. There's a lot of versions where the Saints don't win that game. I think the Browns will be able to throw on them. I think Cedric Tillman props are going to be live in the prop show. But really, let's just take a look at the Saints defense. New Orleans 31st in rush defensive EPA. You have Nick Chubb, who's kind of been eased in these past couple games. I think what threw people off on the Browns was they played an incredibly good Chargers defense after a Ravens game which was in hindsight pretty obvious letdown spot for them against a very good defense. Now you have 2 weeks to prepare. You have Jameis coming back to New Orleans. You have Nick Chubb, probably the healthiest he's been all season. You have Stefanski with multiple weeks to prepare. You have Myles Garrett against the Saints offensive line, and the Saints have been really bad. Let's not forget they lost to the Panthers. They lost 7 games in a row. They're not a good team. I think this is a great play on the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, it's going to be very hard for New Orleans offense to work in this game, but also, I mean, look, I think this is a good matchup all the way around. I mean, I think we're going to see Jameis playing with some sort of aggression, pushing the ball down the field. This New Orleans team, like you mentioned, it could have been worse last week against Atlanta. And what did we notice about that game, Sean? They were hitting each other. Yeah. The intensity was all the way up last week. So natural letdown spot for the Saints, especially with the bye ahead. Meanwhile, love the idea of, one thing you didn't mention
they're
about
playing
Cleveland?
A fresh team with Cleveland.
Well, you know where they're also fresh, the offensive line, somewhere they have not been fresh all year long. And so, I love the idea of this being a lot more about Nick Chubb against that rush defense of New Orleans. And I like this, because Jameis with the play action, like he's going to have some nice shots.
Tillman's going to have himself a game.
And
Tillman's good.
That just defensive line of Cleveland, and whether it's their 4th adjusted sack rate or 1st in adjusted line yards, like they're just going to smother New Orleans. And what happens when Derek Carr gets pressured?
Yeah, I think
lawn chair.
Myles Garrett is going to have himself a game. He's going to.
We have a couple matchups this week with folding lawn chairs.
They're going to get snapped
going against some really good pass rushes. Give me Cleveland. And Sean, let me add, I don't mind putting this into a teaser.
Okay, even though you're not getting over the 7.5.
I also don't mind putting this in a pleaser.
Ooh, yes, we've. On our VSiN show, again, check it out, 11 o'clock East on YouTube TV or VSiN.com. Use that promo code SGP, get a nice discount if you want to subscribe. We are doing a new pleaser segment, Ryan, and if you don't know pleasers, they are a true.
I'm a degenerate.
Sign of being a degenerate is when you're playing pleasers. It's basically a reverse teaser. So instead of getting 6 points, you're so confident you're saying, get out of here with your points. So I think circa their teaser cards are usually 7 points. So this would probably be Cleveland -6 on the teaser card. And I could see myself getting down on it.
Yes, it doesn't exactly fit my most plus EV areas to please, but I think it works. But yeah, tripling down on this idea. And real quick, Sean, I know that last week Darren Rizzi was the Italian American of the week.
Yeah,
I do have an Italian American for this week because I don't know if you know this, Sean. He's basically an honorary member of the Philadelphia Eagles, but television journalist Sal Palantonio.
Shout out to Sal.
He's receiving a lifetime achievement award from the in journalism and broadcasting excellence at the Unico National Italian American Awards Gala this Friday. So shout out to you, Sal Pal. He's and I will say, hearing him the way that he speaks when he hosts the NFL matchup show, then hearing him when he speaks when he's talking to Mitch and Paulie on VSiN, one of the two sound a little bit more Italian.
It's
a great Italian.
They're always asking him what's for dinner, what how's the wife's gravy. They always Italian it up there. But NFL matchup show, if you're looking for like a very digestible show where you actually learn something. I know not many pieces of content, especially on cable TV, have that. But like honestly, I watch that NFL matchup show all the time. They do a great job breaking down film, tons of insight. It's very good for gambling, very good for just hashtag knowing ball. So definitely check out the NFL matchup show.
Yes, and say something nice about Italian people. They get dragged through the mud too often. All right, game number 3, Sean, and I have a feeling this one could be buried away on the teardrop. The Rams head up to New England. Some baby whales maybe spotted because we got a little Super Bowl rematch here.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
You're right.
One of the worst Super Bowls in my memory.
That was I mean, I just have a vivid memory of hanging out in your garage. And Bowser just kept saying like, I'm taking the over. They got to start scoring one of these times. I love you, Bowser, but I was just dying because I was way off on everything too. I had the Rams. I had the over.
Horrible.
We were expecting the shootout.
Boring.
We're like, they're gonna crack something. Todd Gurley was going off, and it was one of the worst
snooze
Super
fest.
Bowls.
And like the same squares were hitting. It was a complete disaster.
If you had 3-3, you had a great Super Bowl. Everyone else, it was a horrible Super Bowl.
Rams on a short week here, Sean, coming off that game where they kind of got beat up, and specifically their offensive line looked bad against Miami, who did not have a pass rush until that game. Off that Monday night game, they're laying 5 here on the road, -216 on the money line, +190 for the Pats. 44 is the total. So I feel like I'm stuck in a rut that's going to have me take the Patriots a ton from here on out, because I don't see the way that you can believe that Miami miraculously solved their pass rush in the bye week.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you can believe that the Rams have serious problems up front.
And I guess that to me is like where this handicap gets kind of tough, because the starters that were coming back from injury were playing way worse than the backups that they had. Like that defense, that offensive line
felt like they were rushed back.
That was playing really well, and maybe they felt some pressure Monday night at home. We're going to rush these guys back. But if you're looking at the matchups, there's a ton of things that really favor the Rams. Like the Rams defensive line, they did a great job getting pressure. Think how many bad sacks Tua took. Tyreek Hill had a really quiet game. Like the Rams defense kept him in that game. Now the offensive lineman that they rushed back submarine the whole entire offensive line. Sean McVay was uncharacteristically super conservative. Like you're kicking the field goal on the 4-yard line. What EV nerd are you talking to? What analytics guy are you talking to? Now, Sean McVay, he's done very well in the 1:00 East time window. He's done very well on short rest. I think he's a better coach than Gerard Mayo. The counter is pretty obvious. Like, hey, who are the Rams to be lane 5 on the road as a non-conference road favorite? I think
Rams got the Eagles on deck.
Yeah, which again, it's a Sunday game. I don't know if they're looking ahead. And the Rams are also a very desperate team. Like they need this win to stay in the playoff chase. I think the Patriots are in kind of a different spot. You're fading the Pats off a 2-game winning streak. I think the Pats defense, you can run on them, which I still don't know why the Bears got away from that. And the Pats, like they had 19 sacks coming into that game, and they got 7 against the Bears. I think the Patriots did a good job of taking what was there. Drake May.
But isn't the Rams offensive line the same catastrophe? Like that was the catastrophe of last game, just like this Bears team.
No, I'm going back and forth because I do think if this Rams offensive line goes back to the version where these guys are really healthy and blocking well, then they could cover this number. But the more we talk this out, I think you got to take the Pats here as a home dog.
I mean, I also think there's an element like look, the Pats are injury reports quite long, as is the Rams. I mean, in terms of critical players, and I think the piece of the argument where like, well, the Rams, if we flip around and look at what the Rams defense might do and the Rams pass rush against Drake May. Maybe I'm not watching super closely because it is the Pats, but Drake May is like he's turning into a nice version of a guy who's going to be tough to cover a touchdown on.
Well, yeah, because
there's going to be some interceptions.
He runs around, he creates plays. The problem is like the Pats also don't have a great offensive line. They also lack top tier talent around May.
But they're getting defensive players back.
No, I'm on the Pats. Okay. I'm just not going to be locking this up. And I don't know if they're live on the money line, but this feels like a 28-20 like 4 type game where the Pats are just a pain in the ass enough to cover this.
Yeah, I mean either one of these teams.
If I was making this number, I'd make it 3.5. I think 5 is too high. Considering
neither one of these, both of these teams not getting to 20 points is very, very feasible.
Yeah. 21-17.
I mean, 15. They couldn't score a touchdown against the Dolphins.
No, and maybe
at least the Pats scored touchdowns.
Again, coming back to cases for the Rams, even though I am on the Pats. After that disaster game against the Cardinals, Sean McVay figured it out the next game. Like he is good at making adjustments.
I didn't realize you were such a big McVay guy. We can move on.
No, I think he's better than Gerard Mayo right now.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't think that's a crazy take.
Game number 4 in the early window, maybe the game of the early window. The Ravens and the Steelers. Ravens coming off Thursday night, little mini bye here. Ravens. Well, the Steelers are looking ahead to a game against Cleveland. The Ravens are looking ahead to a game against the Bengals, I believe. Just a lot of divisional action. And Sean, this is the first divisional game for the Steelers, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
It seems
kind
like
of a weird scheduling.
Seems like Russ has passed the test and he's going to be the starter, catching 3 points here. It seems like it's getting close to 3.5. Steelers plus 155, Ravens minus 175. 48 is the total. I'm not exactly sure how you can make the Ravens 3-point favorites on the road here, Sean.
No, I mean,
I understand there's power rankings. I understand all that nonsense, but in what are you not aware of the past at all? Do you not understand how Harbaugh
these are division games
performed in this situation, Sean, since 2008? Favorites of 3 or more. So Harbaugh got hired in 2008. Favorites of 3 or more in the Baltimore-Pittsburgh series are 2-18-3 ATS. Harbaugh's 0-10-2 as a favorite of 3 or more versus Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I got similar numbers. Tomlin 12-2-2 ATS as a dog against Harbaugh. Tomlin 22-10 as a division dog. 61-34 ATS as an underdog. Ryan, this is why we create flowcharts. Is Mike Tomlin an underdog? Yes. Is TJ Watt playing? Yes. Why are we still talking about this game? It's when I saw the number was 3.5, my first thought was like,
should have bet it.
Well, yeah, obviously that, but my first thought was, well, yeah, mybookie.ag promo code SGPI. My first thought was, hey, this game must be in Baltimore. They're at home. Okay, 3.5 makes sense. The fact that you're giving the Steelers an extra field goal at home. And Russell Wilson, I was like, hey, I don't know, Tomlin, you getting a little cute here, putting in because Fields is winning games. Are you sure? Russell Wilson didn't look great in Denver, and then Russell Wilson was a little rusty in that first half. We were on the Steelers. I kept the faith, and then he's looked. This is the best Russell Wilson has looked in a really long time.
Sean,
that throw to Mike Williams to win the game, essentially, that was great.
Do you know how electric it's going to be when Russ gets hurt in the playoffs and Justin Fields comes in and wins the game? All right. So also Kyle Hamilton looks like he is going to be limited or miss the game.
Yeah.
And you didn't even mention the Patrick Queen revenge spot.
Quote,
I wasn't wanted back.
Yeah,
I didn't get the offer back, and it definitely is kind of upsetting being there for 4 years and the bond that you grow with your teammates and stuff. The first few months, you definitely go through those feelings.
Now, Alex Highsmith for the Steelers looks like he's going to be out.
That's all right.
High ankle sprain or something like it. That does hurt, but they got Herbig back, which is big. Obviously, TJ Watt being healthy. Ravens 27th in defensive EPA. I keep talking about it. Yeah, they look great. Yeah, Lamar's playing at an MVP level. Give him his flowers, but I don't know if this is a championship caliber team because of the vulnerability on defense. They let up 34 points against the Bengals. Jamar Chase was eating. I mean, he was like Kobayashi out there. He's eating so much. I think Pickens could have himself a game. Him and the Russ connection is very fun. Ryan, yes. 10, 16, 19, 24, 14. Am I reading off Powerball numbers, or am I talking about the points Lamar Jackson has scored last 5 games against the Steelers? This is going to be a grinded out, gutty.
He's
game.
Not done well, that's for sure.
And maybe the Ravens do eke out a victory, but you're getting 3 points. You got to take the Steelers as a dog. It's simple systems.
Well, yeah, and here specifically, if you want to look at one matchup and the area, because you mentioned it, right? Why has Baltimore been a little bit of a pass funnel? Well, they're great stopping the run, but also they've been really bad, and specifically they've been really bad defending the deep ball. Deep left, deep right, deep middle, but specifically the deep middle and the deep left. And guess who operates over in the deep left, deep middle? That's going to be a lot of Pickens. And now they got Mike Williams. So it's a bad matchup for the secondary for the Ravens. It's a bad matchup in general. Another one of those fun trends. Last 5 times Pittsburgh has been a dog against Baltimore. They've won outright.
Yeah. And Roger getting ahead of us here, but Steelers, a 2-team tease. Steelers +9, Chiefs +8.5. I mean, 2 teams that and the only thing that's scary about this is Cousin Mush immediately going, "What could go wrong, Roger?" Cousin Mush, don't get on the Steelers or the Chiefs. Although Cousin Mush, he is the cousin, but he hasn't been having a super mushy year, Ryan. Correct?
It
seems like he's almost broken the Mush curse. I don't know.
It's early.
I don't want to get ahead of him. I don't want to mush. Early. Cousin Mush's non-mush year.
It's early, but yeah, we're doing all right in the Circa Million. We're doing all right.
Let's go.
So, do we think this gets back to 3.5, Sean?
I would be surprised. I really would.
Worth noting, it does seem like I didn't mark it this way, but it does seem like the sharps are going to be on Baltimore.
Really?
Bet split wise, just relative internet chatter. It seems like a lot of people are. I don't get it. It's like, do you watch the fucking games? Have you not seen Tomlin as a dog at home in the division?
I'm seeing a place that has +3 +100.
Yeah,
Steelers,
a lot of this.
Maybe you get a 3.5 -120, maybe, but I wouldn't. I like it at 3. I'm playing it.
Yeah, I'm especially if we can get the getting a +100 +3.
No, I love it.
Yes, let's please. Go. Are you also is the money line is? You're playing the money line. You're playing the spread. If you had to pick one.
I mean, I like both. Why do I have to pick one, right?
You don't.
Okay.
But this is just a hypothetical where I make you pick one.
I'm on a deserted island. I can only take one, either money line or spread.
Do you like the pleaser, the teaser, or the spread?
Because of the history of these division games, I'll take the 3 points, and as a respect for the Ravens. But don't be surprised if they make it as my dog or in a Circa has +3 even money, Ryan. So we'll see what they have when we get out there on Friday.
What's exceptionally wild is like you'll hear the trends about Lamar only having 1 win versus the Steelers.
Yeah,
it's crazy. He's only played 4 games. Like,
well, it's weird because like there's been a lot of
injury. Or like Tyler Huntley has gotten a lot of Steelers games in.
It hasn't worked out. So he does have a small sample.
But
size.
like he's been in the league for a little while. Like he's been in the league so long, he got to represent himself through a contract negotiation already.
Yeah.
And he's only played a team in his division 4 times. That's wild.
Weird nugget.
Las Vegas, the Raiders coming off their bye week, Sean. They got some new play callers as well. You ever heard of Scott Turner?
Yes.
Oh boy. The Turner family's back. It's what everyone has been yearning for. Anyway, Vegas fixed all their problems in the bye week. I have a feeling Zamir White is going to get heavily used this week. They head to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Dolphins off that short Monday night win against the Rams. Dolphins now laying a touchdown, -340 on the money line. Raiders +290. 44 is the total. I don't have a great handicap here, other than when I was digging around in the numbers. The one thing that these teams do well collectively is they do a decent job with the line yards on the defensive line, which would indicate to me, okay, they can stop the run, but they don't actually stop the run very well. So, I mean, Miami looked good last week. I can't figure. I don't want to give their defensive line credit.
Yeah, it's funny.
I also don't want to give their offense credit because Tua looked fucking horrible.
He hasn't thrown for 240 yards since he's been back.
Just dropping the ball like you got Vaseline on your fingers.
Yeah,
what the fuck is going on?
Weird snaps. This is funny because I think if you had to tell me pick 2 of the teams you've done the worst against, or like worst ATS, I think it might be the Raiders and the Dolphins. I knew the Raiders. The under was the play on the win total, but other than that, like the Dolphins, I've been off on. Except the couple times they, the one, Buffalo covered only 1 out of the 2 games. Normally they're good for 2-0. I had them as a lock again at home against Arizona. They shit the bed. I thought maybe there would be like that first game back. They would have some friskiness, and the Raiders the same way where like, all right. Just Chiefs are going to be motivated. They'll put them away. Oh, they backdoor. Oh, okay. Well, they can hang around with the Bengals. Their defense is so bad. They get blown out there. Like I cannot buy an ATS win for the Raiders and Dolphins. But looking at this, like historically, this would have been for me a smash spot for the Dolphins. But that Dolphins offensive line was really bad. And you mentioned it, Ryan. Like the one thing the Raiders can do right is let Max Crosby loose. Now, maybe there is a little get up left in this team. Maybe there's a little bit of fight. They also have a new offensive coordinator. You have 2 weeks to prepare. You would think there's going to be at least some plays that the Dolphins on the short week. And I know this didn't come through with the cover with the 49ers. It probably should have if Jake Moody wasn't such a horrible field goal kicker, but this is another, and I don't know, like we're just talking it out now. You kind of missed my handicap. We're taking a team coming off a Monday night game on the West Coast against a team coming off the bye. That has to mean something. I think the Raiders pound the rock, ugly this thing up. Jonnu Smith probably is going to be all right. And in a small sample size, Antonio Pierce, his team has done well on extended rest, in particular the defense showing up. So I'll take the Raiders and the points, but them shitting the bed is certainly a possibility. But we're picking it at 7.
Why you see a different number out there? What are you been talking to?
No,
talking to the Dalai Lama.
No. I
getting the best number.
It was just 7.5 earlier. I was just confirming.
When I filled out the sheet minutes before the show, it was 7.
Sometimes lines change, Ryan. So I'm taking the Raiders in the 7. What are you doing?
I think what we're gonna see is a game where the Raiders pound the rock and are able to.
Yep. And
I think we're going to see the pass rush give Tua some problems. And like you said, the rest disparity thing is huge here. We've seen this be an effective angle all season, especially as we have gotten deeper into the season. And you got to imagine now, whatever happened with Antonio Pierce and Luke Getsy and their lack of communication, so much so that Antonio Pierce was telling Luke Getsy through the media to give Zamir White 20 carries. Now he just got the guy in there that was just going to give Zamir White 20 carries.
Ryan was trying to get us to pick up Zamir White in fantasy.
Oh, I picked him up.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry. I just in case we got him. I mean, if I'm going to be wrong about the take, I'm going to try to make it right again in week 11 for no reason. Here's what my other prediction. I think this will be a teaser leg that destroys everyone's teaser.
Oh, it's the Raiders money line.
Yeah, I think this is gonna. I mean, yeah, do the math, but I certainly wouldn't tease this. I guess is what I was saying. But yeah, maybe we do please it, John. Break all the rules.
Raiders could be live. There's a couple other dogs I think I'd like a hair more.
Just Tua given the Raiders a defensive touchdown and like this game being 10-7 at the half.
Max Crosby killing Tua is a possibility.
Yeah, Raiders will be in the first half parlay. I think. Jacksonville heads to Detroit. Game 6 in the early window. Unfortunately, the Jags dumpster fire has gone full explosion, full Florida. Lions laying 2 touchdowns, Sean. We haven't seen double digits too often this year, let alone 2 touchdowns. 78% of the bets are on Detroit. Sure, some of that was as the number was growing. 46 is the total, plus 720 for a single game in the National Football League. This is out of control. And vacation ahead for Doug P and the rest of the team as they have their bye next week. What's the I mean, how do you not just lay the points with Detroit here and just hope and pray?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to compare this game, this Jags Lions game, to a previous game of the Lions versus the Titans, where they just destroyed them.
Yeah.
And the Jags covering the late number, which they did. We of course had it at 4.5.
Nice job.
So we covered, but a lot of people who bet it late, unfortunately, had the Vikings late in 7.
That's on them
in a game where, I mean, the Jags probably should be a close your eyes special. They were outgained 402 to 143, Ryan. But they've but they weren't. So
Sam Darnold sucks as well.
Yeah, that's the counter. Mac Jones 14 to 22, 111 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Goff has just been a beast at home. 33, 19 and 2. Mac Jones 4 and 15 ATS in his last 19 starts as a dog. There's like nothing. I'm always trying to talk myself into big underdogs, especially in the NFL, because there's, hey, these guys are professional football players too. And I think you mentioned it, Ryan, when we were discussing this game earlier in the office, like the Lions aren't really a letdown team. And if anything, yeah, they won that game, but I feel like they want to right the ship. Like Jared Goff, they won the game, but he kind of got embarrassed. I mean, he threw 5 picks on national TV. Yeah, one was a Hail Mary, but still, I think this Lions team has some pride, and I think Penei Sewell, that offensive line, they're going to push people around. They're going to rack up yards. You can pass on this Jaguars team. Jared Goff at home in a dome. I mean, there's a reason this is 14 points. They're going to cruise. Give me the Lions all day.
Oh, no concern at all about a random Mac Jones game. It's not possible, right?
Nah, I saw Mac Jones last week.
So then
the one bet we should have made, and I'm kicking myself, was Mac Jones anytime touchdown. It was right there in front of me. We either we discussed it in the office or I thought about it. There was some sort of like, hey, should I pull the trigger?
We talked about it. It was,
and I just didn't. So again, that's on me. I'm man enough to say I should have bet Mac Jones anytime touchdown. That dream is gone. He sucks. Let's go. Lions roll.
Detroit defensive touchdown, right?
Certainly in the realm of possibility. Yeah. And Trevor pointing out Jags have covered the past 2 weeks, but
covered the closing number. They did not cover the opener or the number that we talked about the game
and
on Wednesday.
If Trevor Lawrence was in here getting 14, you could talk to me a little bit more, but not Mac Jones. No,
what are the chances that we see a true quit spot?
Well, and that's the quit spot is there for this Jags team, right?
Wouldn't be the first time we saw a team quit around Mac Jones.
Lame duck head coach going into a bye. How is he going to get these guys up for this game?
He gets fired after the game. He has to know that, right?
Yeah, or they let him play out the season because they want him to suck. But
he's already fucked. The quarterback's out. Like, he's not winning games with Mac Jones. He has to know his fate. If he loses a game that they're 14-point dogs, he's going to get fired. You don't think he knows he's getting fired? What do you think he's doing instead of preparing right now? There are casinos in Detroit. You think he's over at the MGM?
He loves ice cream. So right. he's eating ice cream.
I don't love being on the public side, Sean, but
you're sharp.
I'm going to be on Detroit here. I'm also not a huge buyer of general quit, but it does seem like
I'm always down to make the opposite case. So the fact that I cannot make a case for this Jags team,
it's a really strange report we're getting out of the Jacksonville. It seems as though Doug Peterson has not come out of the locker room after the half. He's quote unquote gotten the fuck out of here. What are the chances he gets fired at halftime or just doesn't show back up?
Easy. Lions insider saying Taylor Decker should be back. Zadarius Smith getting his first game. He said take the alt minus 23 and a half.
Come on.
At 3-1.
Oh,
get some real value. This is going to be a blowout.
There could be Jags fans in here. Jesus Christ.
They're in a hot tub somewhere.
Give me the Lions laying the points, obviously.
All right, there you
go. Maybe a pleaser then. It seems like Easy suggesting we put the Lions in our pleaser this week.
You could do worse.
It didn't work when we went against the Jags last week. Minnesota, the Vikings on a back-to-back road spot, a little tour of the AFC South, and another quote unquote public side here, Sean, because the Vikings are catching 80% of the action as 6-point favorites, minus 250 on the money line. Tennessee plus 216. 40 is the total. As I mentioned, Minnesota is on a back-to-back road spot. It does seem like they are also on a bit of a decrescendo, unlike the.
I think it's just called crescendo.
Crescendo's up.
Crescendos go up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look that up.
Trust me. Played trumpet as a kid. Know a little thing or two about getting louder and softer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the highest point that reached it. So they reached the crescendo. Then you would probably go down after that if that's the highest point.
Decrescendo.
Decrescendo is not a word though.
Okay, look it up.
Decrescendo is a word?
I don't know.
Okay,
that's why I said look it up.
Decrescendo is a word.
Oh,
decrease in loudness.
Oh,
okay. Well, there you go.
Let's fucking go. I told you I'm laser focused right now.
Decrescendo does not sound like a word.
I played a fucking instrument as a kid. You're questioning.
Right, I didn't know I got horn player Ryan Kramer over here.
It was up until I played. It was before I had a full sports load. All right. What are we doing here? To me, the Vikings are on. As I mentioned, let me translate for Sean and everyone else. I think they're on the way down.
Yeah, there you go.
AKA they're regressing.
Speak the audience and my language.
They're regressing towards the mean from the max.
Don't do that. Don't do that. So it's weird. I want to fade the Vikings, but then
Will Levis against
a Brian Flores defense. How do you do it? That's my main.
He's kind of back.
I have one note. It just says Flores versus Will Levis. That's my entire handicap. Vikings lead the league in interceptions, Ryan, and we got Will fucking Levis on the other side. How can you take the Titans with 6 points here? And the Titans secondary continues to be banged up. You can throw all over this Titans secondary. Justin Jefferson should have an awesome game. Aaron Jones should be able to catch a bunch of receiving yards. Vikings are going to create a ton of pressure and turnovers. I faded the Titans last week, even when they were up 7-0 with that Calvin Ridley play. Felt great about it. I'm doing it again. I know the Sharps will probably be on the Titans. Want no part of it. Give me the Vikings. And Sam Darnold.
I don't think the Vikings
I was right
are very
about
good.
Sam Darnold sucking. Yeah, but you don't have to be very good to beat the Titans.
But what if Minnesota needs to run the ball, and Sam Darnold? I think
the turnovers are going to be the difference. The Vikings lead the league in interceptions. They have 15 interceptions. Will Levis. I mean, you can take the Titans. I
think I'm going to take the Titans.
Wow. All right.
Well, I mean, Sam Darnold has not been playing good ball, Sean.
No.
And you've said it multiple times. Tennessee has a pretty good defense. They especially make it very difficult to run the ball. Sam Darnold,
but the turnovers and the pressure that Flores is going to bring against
Sam Darnold last week, 3 interceptions. Week before that, 2 interceptions and a fumble.
14-6, Vikings win. Call it. Call him a shot.
I like how let me do the same thing. 17-10, Titans win.
Oh, you're calling them outright victory.
Oh,
all
yeah.
right. Okay. Nice.
Great spot for the Titans. Will Levis is back. Indy, game 8.
You didn't watch that Chargers game.
Will Levis is back, playing good ball.
I watched every moment with Decker.
Indy heading into the Big Apple here, where and we got some drama to talk about with the Colts here. But Indy heads to New York, where the Jets look ahead to a bye, laying 4 points, -190 on the money line. 168 for the Colts. 44 is the total. So Joe Flacco's in, then Joe Flacco's out. Seems like ownership maybe got involved with the situation here. I don't know what your thoughts are, Sean, but to me, the most likely theory I think is that ownership was the reason that Joe Flacco was playing. Maybe.
Well,
now Shane Steichen's gotten his way again. And
no, I think it was the other way around, because Shane Steichen announced that on Monday that I think Shane Steichen wanted to play Flacco this week.
I hear that. And what I'm saying is I actually have thought about this more and think he was being forced to play Flacco, had not been given an updated order, and something changed.
No, I disagree
with Irsay midweek, where he's like, actually, we should be playing this.
No, he wanted to play Flacco because Flacco gave him the best chance to win. And then Irsay this week said, fuck this. We still suck with Flacco. Put in Anthony Richardson. That's, I think, almost certainly what happened.
Okay. The Steichen wanting Flacco angle, just that, I think I got off of that because it really doesn't make a ton of sense. He wasn't playing excellent ball. We saw it in the 2 full games. I think it at minimum.
But why? I mean, if Steichen was pushing for Anthony Richardson, why would he not have had a package for Anthony Richardson to get out on the field? Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Short yardage did he not use him? If he was the one pushing for Anthony Richardson, you would think they would at least go, okay, yeah, use him for a couple plays.
Almost like there was and then they say it's a preparation thing. Maybe there was a punishment. Maybe this is one of these quiet suspensions or something. I don't know. It shows me that the team's all over the place, and I wonder what the players are thinking. It almost seems like because this also came after McAfee slammed the team. So maybe McAfee's pulling the strings.
Jim Irsay, who's been known to hang out in the shed, was probably fired up watching McAfee.
Come on, dude. He's
called Steichen and said, put Anthony Richardson
he's
back
sophisticated.
In.
He takes pills, not he doesn't do the shed powder.
No, so the more I think about this game, and Anthony Richardson was like, low key, I'm glad I was benched. Again, not something you want to hear from.
I was tired.
Hopefully he knows not to take himself out. But as much as a disaster as this Colts team is, you could make that same case for this Jets team. Who is this Jets team to be favored by anyone? This Jets defense has been a complete disaster ever since they got rid of Robert Saleh. The offense is just as bad. I mean, you have infighting. Rodgers saying fighting a lot of ghosts from the past. Devontae Adams is mad that guys on the sidelines aren't celebrating after big plays. Now they have to come home where fans are wearing anytime. And Ryan, this is a new gambling rule. If there are fans in your stands wearing bags over their heads and they're favored, I'm taking the dog in the National Football League, and we're going to see that. We're going to see that 20 missed tackles from the Jets last game, and the edict was, "Hey, we got to tackle better." Normally this would be like, "Hey, this is a rat line. Why would the Jets be favored?" But I thought the same thing last week, and they got destroyed. Sometimes the market is just off.
Jets did get embarrassed last week.
They've been getting embarrassed all season.
Do they have the bounce back potential?
To me, this is what put me on the Colts. Kyler Murray, 2 rushing touchdowns as I gave out on VSiN. Binkin.
Okay.
Drake May, 3 for 46 and a touchdown before he got knocked out. CJ Stroud, 8 for 59. You know what you can do against the Jets? Jonathan Taylor's going to have himself a game. Anthony Richardson's going to have himself a game. Ryan,
VSiN rushing ladder for Anthony Richardson.
VSiN rushing ladder to the moon.
Jonathan
3
Taylor.
Rushing touchdowns for Anthony Richardson is in play. I don't think there's no way he attempts more than 15 passes. Now the only thing I'm scared about is Aaron Rodgers being able to pick apart the Gus Bradley defense, but they should not be favored. And that Colts defensive line is still very good against a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You saw that the Patriots defensive tackle who said Aaron Rodgers is getting old back there. Even I can run him down. Imagine Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner going after him.
Well, I mean, what did the Cardinals? I've been told the Cardinals don't have a good defense. I've been told that the Cardinals don't have a great run stuffing front.
Yeah.
They had no problem with that Jets.
The Jets suck. The Jets suck. They thought, hey, this is going to be an upgrade. Swapping in Aaron Rodgers for Zach Wilson. They have less wins. They suck. They suck. The capital S.
I'm not seeing a completions prop being offered for Richardson.
Attempts,
but attempts is 27.5, which is pretty high. He's gone over it a couple times. You really want to play the completions though, because you want to get benefit from those erratic throws. Him to score 3 touchdowns, Sean, is 45 to 1. Best price I can get you.
Shop around.
I just did. I just shopped for you. Only concern here, Sean, this is a public dog potentially. So
really,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
it didn't quite get the public dollar sign in the sheet, but we are.
What are you
close.
doing, Ryan? You haven't said what you like here.
Oh, I'm on the. Oh, I 100%. I'm on the Colts, but I think it's because you don't. To your point, I don't think you need to pass the ball at all.
Yeah,
you hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor and you run the ball yourself, Anthony Richardson. And I think you take this game home because that honestly, if you're a coach, that's probably what you figured out. You're like, oh crap, Joe Flacco really killed our run game. We got to get Anthony Richardson back in there because the Jets can't stop the run. Stopping the run's about effort.
100%.
But we again, a lot of people are in the Colts because the Jets looked like hot garbage last week.
All right, hey. If you guys sign up with Underdog Fantasy, if not, what are you waiting for? Go to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you a sweet deposit bonus up to $1,000, 50% match up to $1,000. Can't beat it. Don't even try. Underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. So many sports, so much action. I mean, they got it all. Kramer, what are you doing?
What do we want to talk about a game we've already talked about?
Yeah, that's always fun. Anthony Richardson.
Well, I mean that.
Oh my God, Ryan.
What's the number?
They're offering his passing attempts. You'll not
attempts or completions.
Attempts.
Well, we just saw it was with 27.5. Did I say?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I would still prefer the complete. They have the completions.
How does he complete 28 balls? They don't have
attempts.
Yeah, 36.5 rushing yards.
That's what I would play. I would play that or Taylor rushing yards.
Anthony Richardson higher, 36.5 rushing yards. Which one do you want to give out, Ryan?
I mean, we can use that one. We can sprinkle in a. I mean, I would look to play Nick Chubb angle.
Okay, yeah, I like Chubb and Pickens are ones that are jumping out at me.
Oh, Pickens is fun, or Mike Williams.
Chubb's 58.5. That feels kind of low.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
Pickens is 66.5. So I feel like they're kind of.
What's Mike Williams? Now that he's in the offense.
Oh, he knows his red lines.
Just needs one catch.
I don't think they have the Mike Williams number out yet.
All right.
Let's just keep it simple. Nick Chubb.
All right.
Nick Chubb 58.5 rushing yards, higher. Anthony Richardson higher, 36.5 rushing yards. $100 returns you 300, aka 3x. Get down underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Kramer, what do we got?
I was just noticing how we've agreed on every pick so far. I've also was noticing.
What do you mean? You had Tennessee.
Oh, you're right. One disagreement. I also noticed that I'm very heavy on the dogs this week. Could be a problem. All right, 3 late games again. Can we just legislate 4 minimum, please? Figure it out, guys. 7.
Yeah, why do I have 8 TVs on my fucking wall if we're only gonna have 3 late games?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we gotta send the bill to the commissioner.
And yeah, I mean, think about it. You always got one high bust rate game too, so you're down to 2. Come on, figure that out. Seattle coming off the bye. Sean, why do I want to know what and why Seattle is getting this giant positivity from the media. I keep seeing them as a trash team. They're coming off the bye and everyone's talking about them like they're almost there. And it's like, what am I watching? I haven't seen them look great in maybe one game this year. They're catching 6.5 on the road against the Niners. Little revenge spot. They just played a couple weeks ago. Plus 240 on the money line. Niners minus 280. 48 is the total. I know the Niners didn't look great last week.
Yeah, I mean, what's tough to take the Niners as a favorite, laying 6.5, is they've been bad in the red zone. And if you're thinking like I did last week, oh hey, Christian McCaffrey, he sucks, but maybe it'll help out a little bit in the red zone. They were still 1 of 3 in the red zone. It's easy to just be like, oh, the kicking thing, that's an outlier. Don't worry about kicking, but they're horrible in special teams DVOA. I think they were like 30th, 31st. Like they're one of the worst teams. I'll pull it up real quick, but
I have the DVOA.
What is their DVOA special teams?
Let's see.
31st. So it's Giants. Shout out to the Giants. 30th. 49ers 31st, Tennessee 32nd. Tennessee, you might remember from losing money betting on them, and all they had to do was not get a fucking punt blocked every single game. So that's, to me, that stuff is what scares you off. Hey, we got this Moody guy who can't kick a field goal. Our special teams are bad. We're going to probably muff a punt. Kyle Shanahan, even though he's a coaching genius, can't seem to figure that out.
He's had bottom 10 special teams in 4 of the last 5 years. According to DVOA.
He's bad at it. And it costs him. It costs him in big spots. Missed extra point in the Super Bowl. Stuff like that comes back to haunt you. Rookie head coach coming off the bye. They're finally getting DK Metcalf back. It's one of those things where I don't like Seattle to win the game, but I also 49ers as a bigger favorite is tough to get at. I guess I'll default on the fact that I'm just out on the Seahawks team in general. That offensive line against Bosa, I think is bad. So I'll take the 49ers laying the 6.5. What scares me from locking this up though is the special teams and red zone stuff, because it's cliche, but you're settling for field goals instead of touchdowns. It makes it tough to cover 7. But I'm out on Geno Smith.
You've said a lot there.
I'm covering the game.
No, I know. I'm saying you kind of. How can you be out on Geno Smith and still not want to cover the number, like lay the number?
Oh, because like I said, their special teams are bad, and I think the special teams being bad and the red zone offense being inefficient.
So if you look at the Seahawks this year, basically they played a great game against the Dolphins with a backup quarterback, and the Falcons, who have just no pressure. In fact, both of those games you can point to no pressure as the reason they were able to do something. In the rest, basically the rest of their games, you just don't see it. Massive flaws, whether it be the offensive line, whether it be the defensive scheme, the defense. Again, it's the classic case where you get a defensive coach. He comes in, and if anything, when they win games, it's because the offense scores a shitload of points. The defense sucks. The offense sucks. The offensive line sucks.
Yeah, no, I mean,
we just watched this game in Seattle. It was 36-24. I hear your point about the red zone execution, and it's accurate, but no, thank you. Lay the points. Lay the points. All right, game number 2. I'm kind of low key excited for this game. Atlanta and Kirk Cousins, who, by the way, they're looking ahead to the bye week. I'm sure he's got some plans with the in-laws.
You like that? You like that?
Gonna plant the tulip garden or something. They're heading to Denver to play at elevation, Sean, against the Denver Broncos, who, by the way, can rush the passer a little bit. Kirk Cousins does not do well with the pressure in his face. -2 for the Broncos, -136 on the money line. Atlanta +118. 44 is the total. I mean, I've heard. I shouldn't say I've heard, but I've definitely read some positive opinions on Atlanta in this spot, which is odd to me because, like, situationally, this is clearly a Broncos spot. Yeah, sure. Maybe you're buying a little high off an almost win against the Chiefs. Maybe it's an emotional letdown spot for the Broncos after that almost win against the Chiefs. I don't buy that. I think that this Broncos team is certainly going to have advantages here all over the place. And on the flip it around, Bo Nix is, we just talked about it with Seattle. Bo Nix is going to deal with a pressureless situation against this Atlanta defense.
And I mean, I know everyone thinks I'm going overboard with Bo Nix, but
you are.
But I mean, am I? He went into Kansas City, got out to a nice lead. Defense kept him in that game, but when the game was on the line, he literally drove down his team in Kansas City against the Super Bowl champs, one of the most hostile environments, and set them up for a 35-yard field goal. That's all you can ask for from a quarterback.
Didn't make the kick though.
No, he didn't. He's not kicking yet. But Bo Nix, with time to throw against this Falcons offense, which struggles against guys like Cortland Sutton. I think there's some deep props, either Lucas Kroll or Adam Troutman, that could be interesting. Tight end stuff. Broncos are 5th in defensive DVOA. Now maybe you can say it's strength of opponent, but they've also just played some close physical games. I like fading the Falcons on the road here. I guess there could be an emotional letdown spot after losing to Kansas City, but you're back at home. Like, I think the crowd is going to be into this game. You're at elevation against the dome team.
Justin Simmons plays on the Falcons now, which is a former teammate of many of the defense. Maybe that's a little bump there. Falcons also tremendously long injury report, Sean. And so I'm sure some of it is just bullshit walkthrough simulation, play with the emotions of the fans and gamblers injury report nonsense. But they certainly have a lot more players listed than the Broncos. And when you look at the Broncos injury report on the flip side, they are just fucking healthy.
Yeah.
Only one player missing, even listed as limited with a real injury. So
unlimited.
Yeah. Silly, but I stumbled into a fun nugget too, Sean, and makes me like the Broncos as a franchise. But for the 3rd consecutive year, the Broncos are installing a fresh field, fresh turf field.
They love the grass in Colorado.
It's smoking my weed.
It's in the interest of player safety. It's 14 truckloads of Kentucky bluegrass. From a turf farm up in Platteville, Colorado, and they're going to replace the field 36 hours ahead of the game against the Falcons. Maybe a little bit. Maybe we can plan this a little better to not replace it in the middle of the season right before a game. But Love that we're going with the natural grass fields. The NFL should mandate this. This is complete bullshit that they allow like the reason that the data works for turf fields, if you're not familiar, is that a lot of kids who are playing on grass fields play on shitty grass fields because it's a public park or it's a shitty school that doesn't take care of the field. These are multi-million-dollar organizations that can afford to have a staff of people responsible only for this fucking grass. Yeah, bring back the grass, Sean. All right, we're both on Denver laying the 2. This to me is such a strength on strength matchup. Really like it. Denver to score a defensive touchdown too feels like it's in the cards. Maybe a little defensive touchdown round robin for the weekend. Loading for the prop show. Sean, game of the week. I'm sure this will be a Nance and Romo special. Hopefully it's not a Tom Brady game. Please do not make this a Tom Brady game. Sean, can you please look that? This can't be a Tom Brady game. Oh, the world will just absolutely revolt. Kansas City heads to Buffalo. I can't believe they're doing this. The second time in one season, Sean. They're making Patrick Mahomes a dog.
Mahomes a dog.
Plus 2.5, plus 115 on the money line.
I'm tired of reading this dumb stat.
45.5 is the total. Okay, I get it. Bills are playing great ball, but all the receivers are banged up. They need to run the ball.
Kincaid is really the big one.
They need to run the ball, and the Chiefs don't let you run the ball.
No.
This is the simplest fucking handicap I've ever.
And Josh Allen is kind of turning back into turnover-y Josh Allen. 5 turnovers in the last 3 games. He was playing super clean ball. And the Chiefs, if they go down 10, he's 19. Mahomes is 19-14 straight up when trailing by more than 10 points at any point in the game. Next closest in win percentage, Ryan, Tom Brady at 38%. That's a crazy stat. But of course, Patrick Mahomes is a dog, 12-1-1 ATS. Yes, the Bills get Milano back, but whatever.
Wait,
play Dawson.
Do they get him back?
That's like best case scenario.
They open the window. It doesn't seem like, well, I don't know if he's definitely playing. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I guess you can also tease it.
You can
tease it.
I don't like teasing stuff that I don't need to.
But we also do build a teaser later on the show. So,
but Dalton Kincaid, I don't think is going to play. I mean, he didn't practice today on Wednesday. The Bills account I follow saying not going to happen on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, interesting because I think it seems like maybe there will be some sharps on the Bills.
Yeah, I mean,
are people getting cute?
Go for it.
They
go
cute?
for it. We had this exact same conversation when they were dogs against the 49ers, like verbatim. Spencer Brown also trending in the wrong direction for the Bills.
Yeah, come on. They'll be Chiefs.
Kansas City.
They'll be undefeated.
It's just a nice, relaxing way to enjoy Sunday. I'm on the Chiefs. Don't worry about it. How much they have to cover? No, this is what'll surprise you. You're actually getting points. What do you mean you're getting points? No, the best team that just. I mean, like even last week, I had this conversation where just in my head, you're a pussy. You should have been on Broncos money line. Pussy. Almost 3 hours of me calling myself a pussy in my own brain. And then when they got the field goal blocked, the 35-yard field goal, and I was on only the Broncos +8, I just go genius. So yeah, if you want to be the guy they don't give you extra points. It's not like, oh wait, you bet against the Chiefs. Well, here's your win, and you get like a free jacket because you bet against the Chiefs. Is there an extra prize? What am I missing?
Terrell suggesting a interesting and pertinent piece of information. That the one time he did the one in that trend you read earlier was unfortunately against the Bills.
How dare you, Terrell? No, sure, okay, fine. I'm the asshole who bet on Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. Fine, take my money. I'll see you next time he's an underdog.
I will say, I remember before I just stopped resisting. It feels good when you stop resisting the Chiefs thing. It's like, no, they're going to win their division. I'm just going to bet on it.
Yeah,
it's minus.
It makes it less annoying.
Sean, remember when it was
in my Eagles group chat? They're like the announcers are just slobbering Patrick Mahomes the entire game. And then I'm thinking, he's looking pretty good, and I go, oh, that's because I got like if this happens, I'm getting $600. All right, that's probably tainting my opinion.
Sean, remember
he's way less annoying when he's winning you money. I assure you.
Before the year when he was like minus 230 to win the division, and everyone's like, oh,
they're like, this will scare him off.
Minus like 2,000.
Yeah, I get it. It's boring when the same thing happens in sports, but it's way less boring when you're winning money off. That's my only advice to you.
Yeah. Plus, if you're the Bills, you don't want to win this game. Save it for the playoffs, guys. All right, Sunday Night Football, which fortunately we were blessed with a flex by our commissioner, pulled that Jets Colts game out of the crosshairs.
Oh,
no one needed to see Anthony Richardson fail again on prime time. That would have been just cruel and unusual. The Bengals now take on the Chargers. Sean, I didn't mention it earlier when we were talking about the Ravens and Steelers, but we do have a look ahead spot. I don't know if you know this, but the Har Bowl is next week.
Okay.
Where John and Jim face off. I wonder if he's looking ahead, but this week, Harbaugh laying 2 minus 130 against the Bengals. 48 is the total. As you can see, Bengals, number of situations here, but they do have extended rest. They are looking ahead to a big game. I don't understand. So at this point, I don't know if you've seen some of the comments being made, but it seems like it took Jamar Chase yelling at people to get Jamar Chase the ball that much and for the offense to look that good. But I can't help look past the fact that Cincinnati can't stop anybody.
No,
they can't stop anyone on the ground. And sure, maybe this is a shootout. T. Higgins does look like he's headed back, and we know how important that is for the offense. Part of me was just thankful that this isn't 2.5, so I don't have to take the dog. Well,
yeah, I mean, all those like Joe Burrow's underdog trends, they really start at that like 2.5 3-point line. Joe Burrow listed underdog 29 times. He's 11-17-1 straight up, 19-10 ATS, which is pretty good. But it like the strong, like the obviously when I took him last week at 6, it like right after 3 points, that's where it really seems to shoot up. Cincinnati 27th in defensive DVOA. The Chargers now quietly have a home field advantage. I guess you're scared. Joe Burrow is pretty good ATS after a loss. They have the little extra rest. There's a case to be made, but I mean, I know some of that is the strength of the opponents, but this Chargers team is as corny as it sounds. They're playing like a team. They rally around when they're tackling. There's still a lot of bad vibes for that Bengals team. I think that was kind of a heartbreaking loss for them against the Ravens, a game they obviously easily could have won. And I think the Chargers can kind of impose their will because I think they're going to be able to run the ball on this Bengals defense, and the Bengals can't slow them down. If you put this Chargers team, if they're playing in front, like if they're ahead of the stakes every single time, that's going to wear down that defense. And on the other side, I think the Chargers defense is decent enough to hold them, to slow them down a little bit, to pressure Joe Burrow. So yeah, I think you got to take the Chargers here at home.
Well, and interestingly enough, Christian Fulton, who is a cornerback for the Chargers, he played with Chase both in high school and at LSU. He's back this week. So
Patrick Fisher pointing out the incredible turnaround for Quentin Johnson, 5 touchdowns in the last 7 games. He only had 2 in 17 games last season. And again, like Harbaugh is reviving not only the players on the roster, but the entire franchise back from the dead and really breathing in fresh life. And just and Terrell points it out. They haven't given up 3 touchdowns in a game. Like they let up, they haven't let up 21 points yet in a game. So yeah, sure. Some of the teams they've played haven't been amazing. They also held the Chiefs to 17 points.
Yeah. I mean, I think using the well, especially when you look at the bank. So I think specifically people are just ignoring the way the Giants played the Bengals played the Giants. This is the game you circle in terms of this is a fraudulent team. This is how they had Higgins, they had Chase. What happened? How did that horrible defense slow that down?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think
there's a massive coaching edge. Like the
concern is that the secondary for the Chargers are very young. The cornerbacks could completely get undressed. But what I was mentioning earlier is one of those cornerbacks, has some familiarity with Chase, and sometimes you can defeat a much greater foe just by having deep knowledge of how that person operates. So you can't not take the Chargers here, in my opinion, because I think to what you said earlier, if the Chargers get up and lean, I think it's going to be one of those games because the Bengals can't stop the run. Gus Edwards is back.
That's the thing. Like I think they can impose their will on him.
You see how excited Harbaugh got when he called that rushing play at the goal line.
That was
Herbert.
So great. And there was
beast mode.
Beast. And Herbert and Harbaugh are talking. They're like, we're just gonna run it, right? Yeah, but like pretend like we're talking about passing. And then Herbert's like doing this, and he's like, what if I hit him over there? He's like, yeah, you can hit him in that corner. And dude, he just loves ball. Like as corny as Harbaugh is, like I love the passion, and clearly the guys are responding to it. So yeah, all in on the Chargers here. Lock it up, baby.
Interesting. Lock potential?
Maybe. I mean, to your point, I'm slightly worried about the secondary. There's a couple games I like maybe a hair more, but yeah, if Chargers end up on our Circa Million card, Ryan, I'm not going to be upset.
All right. Well, we have a serious conversation to have here.
Yeah.
So it's Monday Night Football, and it's a battle of Texas as the Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys play. Houston laying 7.5, minus 400 on the money line. Dallas, Cooper Rush plus 332, 42.5 is the total. As you can see, the Dallas Cowboys are a close your eyes special. God, it was close. Another point, and we're not talking about it like this. And as we know, Sean, the Houston Texans played the Detroit Lions last week, which means they, of course, are a fade this week, according to the kneecap biting trend, which tells you what? That every single week of this season, with the exception of last week where we had a bye, the team that is coming off a game against the Detroit Lions has lost and failed to cover. So, and on top of that, let me remind you, the Houston Texans are catching 84% of the bets currently, according to DraftKings. So these are three major forces that would suggest the Cowboys are the right side.
Now you go to church.
I
Ryan.
go to church.
So let me get. Are you eating the Cowboys communion wafer?
I do go to church.
That is a disgusting act.
See, Ryan,
but there was that one time in Jamaica where I didn't think about the Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking Houston laying the 7.5. It's slightly high, but this Cowboys team.
You can't lay 7.5 in Houston. This fucking team sucks.
I was talking to my cousin back in the Philly area, and we're talking, hey, Bird's looking pretty good, blah, blah, blah. Sixers, what a nightmare. And then I'm just like, but how about those Cowboys, man? They just suck. They're the suckiest bunch of sucks who ever sucked, to quote The Simpsons. And it's great. It's glorious. There's a small chance maybe, Ryan, at the end of the season, the Eagles don't win the Super Bowl, but I'll always have this year as the year the Cowboys truly sucked as hard as humanly possible. And it's been a great gift. And I want to thank Jerry. I want to thank him for not putting up the curtains, the leaving the sun to just, I mean, they're talking about, did you
know they have curtains?
Yeah, I guess because wrestling Twitter pointed out that when they have wrestling events there, they hang the curtains up.
Not just wrestling. Someone put a whole thread out of all these other football games that had the windows.
And then there was
up.
the
Like college football games.
Mike McCarthy was doing a press conference, and then they had like a sun blocking thing up in the press conference because it was very sunny. The Ryan, do you remember where
I approved every one of these decisions? We knew where the sun was going to be at the coin
What
toss.
do you want me to do? Tear down the whole stadium?
Fuck, dude.
Ryan, do you remember where you were on December 30th, 2023?
No, I don't.
I remember where I was. I was at this barbecue place with my wife, hanging out, having a couple beers, enjoying dinner, and watching the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a home game against the Detroit Lions. And it's been a disaster. 34-47, 28-44-48. That's what they've allowed at home. Texans, this is a get right spot. Let's go. Texans roll. Come
on. So would you advise if someone didn't have an allergy to picking the Cowboys, would this be a spot to take the Cowboys, Sean? Let's say they didn't carry your condition of being unable to take the Cowboys. Would this be a spot to take the Cowboys?
Good luck.
Houston laying a big number. They can't cover anything. Sean, this breaking news, if you want to play the. Looks like the rest of the league and markets are coming around because according to Unpredictable, the Dallas Cowboys are basically tied with the Carolina Panthers. But we'll say the Dallas Cowboys are now the 31st rated team in the NFL.
That's insane. A shout out to Japan. He called into the Get to the Points podcast with me, Brendan Walsh, Doug Stanhope, and had some good lines in there.
Plug another podcast. Huh?
Well, it's on our network, Ryan. Okay. And Japan saying I had the Cowgirls going 0-18, only 3 games off. My model says they aren't winning another game. Fuck the Cowgirls. Now that's what I'm talking about.
We did have 3-14, Sean. That was our actual prediction.
Yeah. So we're right on.
You're not taking it seriously. You're not. It's not a real prediction.
Oh, if we nail the 3-14, one podcast said the Cowboys were going to be going 3-14. That's going to be a great clip when Adi cuts it all together.
How mad are we going to be if they have the most losses and we don't?
Don't bring up that scenario.
True.
There's a lot of two win teams.
I guess I'll lay it, and while I'm laying it, I'll point out it's probably a great teaser leg.
Ryan, you know what's great? Our Lock Dog and Tease presented by Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Sup, Rhythm?
A Rhythm. You can build models. I know what you're thinking. I'm not a computer nerd. You don't have to do the heavy lifting. Rhythm does the lifting for you. NFL player props. I mean, anytime I'm starting touchdowns, player props, whatever it is, first thing I do is open up the app and see what Rhythm recommends. And you can build multiple different models. So you can build like a model that is like, hey, running the ball defense, very important. Or, okay, I want something where offenses matters. And then you can see which models agree. I mean, that to me has been the most successful strategy with Rhythm is when there's agreement on the games, those are the ones you're firing on. Rhythm AI, their model and my model both really like the Chiefs plus 2.5 this week. We are in Rhythm, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Sign up over there, get the free 7-day trial. Kramer.
And worth noting, I don't know if you mentioned it, but the Nico Collins, unlike last week, it does seem like he's actually back this week.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was part of my, I like the lines. I didn't think he would actually be back, and everyone's saying he's back. It's great.
Sean.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously there's some shit on the board where it's like, well, fuck, I could be extremely boring. Or let me just start by saying Cleveland +1.
Okay. As one of your locks.
I'm forcing myself down the path of being a little bit different, but I have to take the Chiefs +2.5.
And is one of your locks?
That's one of my locks.
Okay.
Steelers money line's the dog.
Okay.
Seems very clear. I like that price. The teaser. And I will say though, the shocking play that was almost in there, Sean.
Yeah.
Is the Raiders. But I
really
just show me something off the buy first. Tease. It's, I mean, you're supposed to just tease the Chiefs up, I think, but I'm going to leave it off.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it off. Houston -1.5.
Great tease.
Thank you. Detroit -8. And let's get the Steelers up to 9.
Pittsburgh +9. First lock for me, KC +2.5.
Great pick.
Second lock, Pittsburgh +3. I don't care. I don't care. I said to you, Ryan, I go, I don't give a shit. Tomlin as a dog, Chiefs as a dog. I'm going to be always playing those. Now, Terrell was clearly in my head saying maybe Sean's going to take locking Broncos and Steelers, locking Broncos and Steelers, or making Steelers his dog. I consider doing that. So you've already locked. Now I could, put the Chiefs as my dog, and then maybe bring in another team for my lock.
The Chiefs could catching that first loss and buy a point.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I thought about.
Now, Ryan, what if I put Denver as a lock and then slide KC over to the money line? Could do that, or
I just explained that Kansas City losing by points.
That's a bad
range.
scenario.
Yeah.
The dog I like, Indianapolis Colts +168 on the money line. The Jets are really bad.
Jets looked horrible last week.
Yeah, Indy +168 on the money line. What's your Steelers money line, Ryan?
155, I believe.
155. Let's get it for my teas. All right. And Detroit -14 was something I considered locking up. I'll take the teas at 8. I will also.
That might be on our circuit card.
Could be. I'll take the Steelers up to. I'll take Houston down to 1.5. I think that's a good tease.
You can copy my tease if you want.
And then I'll take San Francisco laying a half. I don't know how that did make your tease. That's like perfect tease where I was a little worried about them covering.
I'll be honest. My little bit of pause on Seattle is that they're coming off a bye.
Yeah. So
I don't think the coaching staff's good, so I don't think it's necessarily a positive. But
so Browns +1, Chiefs +2.5, Steelers +3. Those are our consensus locks. Then obviously we got.
How would you rank the rest of the how would you rank your 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, Cleveland's certainly in there, but you already have that. Some other ones that were close. Denver, again, broken record on that, but I think Denver I was close to locking. Indy feel pretty good to me. That's more like a fun money line play than I love it at 4, if that makes sense. I think Denver -2. I think Chargers -2 is very interesting. I think fading the Cowboys is something we're gonna feel pretty comfortable about.
I'm intrigued by the Bears, but that just feels like like you feel pretty stupid if that.
We have no favorites right now. I would like to put Denver in there.
Right.
Denver -2. And do we just put Detroit in? The Detroit, right? The Jaguars are bad. No one's gonna take them because they'll be scared of the 14 points. You could also talk me into San Francisco. Again, there's like minor hesitation there on the 6.5. I feel good about them winning the game.
Go Detroit.
Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay. This feels like a good card. Cleveland +1.
Unless you are interested in the Raiders. If that's too, yeah, okay.
It feels like a hair cute. That's
I'm gonna have the Raider. I'm gonna have.
Tune into the tail of the tape on VSiN 11 o'clock East. The Raiders are definitely like a fun money line play if you're putting together a money line parlay.
Yeah.
Ricky's saying Chargers can take my money. Yeah, Chargers are close too, but we feel good. Would you rather last second switch, Ryan? Detroit or Chargers?
There's a part of me that worries with the Chargers that
Joe Burrow is technically a dog. I guess is the only thing that scares me.
Yeah, if it does turn into a high end shootout, can the Chargers keep up? But no, I think I'd rather play the Lions.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Browns +1, KC +2.5, Steelers +3, Broncos -2, Detroit -14. Thank you, as everyone. Hey, download the SGPN app. It's free wherever you get your apps. It's got all the picks, the podcasts, links to the videos. It's super easy, one convenient place. All of our content, all of our picks. And of course, it's free. Toss us a nice rating review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. 5 seconds on Spotify to give us 5 stars. Very easy. And tell a friend. That's how we keep the war against corporate gambling. One listener, one viewer at a time. Put it in your group chat. We always appreciate that. And of course, we'll see you tomorrow for the prop show. Friday for the VSiN show.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Once again, congratulations to Sal Palantonio.
Kramer, let it ride.